we overcome a lot of challenges when it comes to hockey being such a traditional sport and people not being as adaptive to change.
Too often, athletes are forced to sacrifice individuality for tradition, stuck with gear that looks the same as everyone else's. But what if hockey could be reimagined as a canvas for creativity? Today's guest, Matthew Keeler, is doing just that. From designing the iconic Jordan 1 hockey skates to founding SkateSkins, he's transforming the culture of the sport, giving players the freedom to express themselves while fueling its future growth. On this episode of the Midland Money Mindset, we dive into Matt's journey of innovation, entrepreneurship, and the power of turning bold ideas into lasting impact. I'm Larry Sprung, your host for the Midland Money Mindset and founder and wealth advisor of Midland Financial. Let's dive into today's show. Well, I'm super excited to have you, Matt Keeler, today, founder of SkateSkins. Anything hockey related is always a treat to have on this show. So welcome to the show today.
Yeah, thank you so much, man. I love talking hockey, so happy to be here with you.
You and me both. And I love what you're doing. And we're going to talk a lot about what you're doing today with SkateSkins. But, before we dive into that, just to give our listeners an understanding of who you are, and they're always fascinated with the entrepreneurial journey. So can you share with our audience or our listeners a bit about who you are and kind of what brought you up to the point of founding SkateSkins?
Yeah, for sure. So I'm originally from a small town halfway between Buffalo and Rochester, and went to school out in Rochester in St. John Fisher and studied business and marketing out there. Played club hockey in the ACHA program. And, back when I was a sophomore in high school, I've always had an interest in arts, fashion, music, hockey. And there was never really anything in the market that seemed to serve all those together. And, I've always been pretty artistic as far as drawing and just kind of designing on the computer and everything. So back in 2012, I launched a clothing brand, which was called just Dishin, and really kind of gave me an outlet creatively to work on some different designs and ultimately just learn more about screen printing and embroidery and putting some different designs on different pieces of apparel like shirts and hats and hoodies. And thankfully enough, had some early success with that, and between friends and family that just really wanted to support with me being at a young age and whatnot. And I've always grinded and have been doing that ever since. So like I said, I went to college and kind of set up shop there. I was studying at the same time, kind of like turned my entire dorm into like a pro shop, if you will. I was, selling apparel, and word spread around campus pretty quickly that I was the hockey guy there and was kind of slinging some different merch and everything. And, eventually, met my wife there. We moved out to Buffalo about 7 years ago. And, for me being from a small town, I didn't really know much about Buffalo, but I knew, it was hockey rooted and was a hockey foundation, hockey city. And just knew that was the right place for me to be. So, thankfully enough, have been out here 7 or 8 years now. And we launched a SkateSkins brand in 2020, which I'm sure we'll get into a little bit of how that story came together and everything. But I've been fortunate enough to be around hockey almost my entire, professional career as an artist. And, it's a game that I owe so much to that I love to get back to as well. And just thankful I'm still around it and able to do this stuff today.
Yeah, what a great way to merge all those passions. So I got to ask you, do you come from a family of entrepreneurs, or were you the first in your family?
Yeah, I was. I'd say I come from a family of entrepreneurs. My dad is third generation of a heavy highway construction business, Keeler Construction in Albion, and I had an opportunity to be fourth generation alongside my brother, and decided to go out on my own path. And that was a bit of a risk at first, and something where my dad would tell me if I wanted to go out and make it, I had to accomplish X, Y, and Z revenue wise. And at the time, those seemed like really lofty goals for me. And, kind of looking back now is just really, I think it's something that was a testament to, character that he really instilled with me from a young age. And, just kind of having that entrepreneurship spirit, and I feel like that really springboarded me to where I am now. So, my family is I would say full of entrepreneurs, especially with my mother itself too, just with some different stuff that she was doing around the house with crafting and whatnot. So I would say it's in my blood.
Sounds like it. Sounds like it for sure. Now, you talked about, you founding, SkateSkins, and you did that in March of 2020, which was basically at the beginning of the pandemic. Can you walk us through, so our listeners understand, because I know what SkateSkins are. My boys have worn them before. You've been very gracious in, helping them create and craft a unbelievable way to showcase different things on their skates. So can you walk us through what SkateSkins are, and how did you come up with this idea? Where did it come from?
Yeah, thank you. SkateSkins, a quick elevator pitch. They're a customizable accessory for your skates. So yeah, like you said, working with the boys on that was pretty cool. And what's neat is that users can go onto our website and design their own custom skate product accessory from start to finish. So a lot of people will upload logos, they'll add numbers, they'll change the background design, add a phrase or a slogan, something that they want to have on there. And it really dates back to, I think, the fact that my entire career playing hockey growing up, there was really no sort of customization when it came to skates, or really any customization and equipment around the game itself. So I remember in 2018 or 19, I was playing in a charity hockey foundation game, and wanted to pay tribute to a coach that I had for my entire career that I really looked up to, who was diagnosed with cancer. And I just wanted to find a way to customize my skates in a way that honored him. And at the time, there was really nothing that allowed for that. So I was really just kind of tinkering around in my shop and playing around with some different ideas to kind of try and bring this to life. And yeah, during an interesting time during COVID, it was right around the time where rinks were getting shut down, and I kind of had this eureka moment when I kind of figured out combining a couple different materials, and I was like, oh, maybe I'm onto something here. And I was at the time where I couldn't go onto a rink to test the product in any way because rinks were closed. So I was putting my skates in the freezer, I was putting in the bathtub underwater to see how they would hold up adhesive wise, and was doing some really funny stuff.
I mean, come on, you were in Buffalo.
Yeah.
Couldn't you just walk outside and see how they worked?
You would think so,
why
yeah.
do you really have to go in a rink? No,
right. I probably could have at the time, and probably could have snuck on an outdoor rink even. But yeah, that was all part of the whole thing. I took it to some pretty extreme measures to test the product, and I think I had 10 or 12 different pairs of skates in my shop at the time because I was trying to design a shape that would fit all make and model skates. And yeah, sure enough, it came to life, and it came to the idea, and eventually filed a patent for it, which took a while during COVID. And yeah, eventually it just kind of all came together, and we've been fortunate enough to have some pretty cool success even early on. I remember our first project we did was with Team Latvia and the double IHF, and that was one of the earliest projects we were like, oh my goodness, is this gonna work out? This is our product being used at the highest level of gameplay? And fortunately enough, it did, and that's really springboarded us ever since that moment, I think.
Yeah, great stuff. So the listeners understand basically, and you said it, and I want to make sure they understand it. Basically, this is an adhesive that goes over your existing skate, does not ruin it. It's something that can be put on, taken off later on with no effects. And basically, you can customize it so you can, make your skates as unique as you want them. And, my son had these made for the national championship when he played for it at Shattuck. You were very kind and helped him, through that process. And then when he had the opportunity to play for the Jerusalem Capitals in their showcase game at UBS Arena in March of 2025, you also helped him design a set for that, where he was able to showcase, the Israeli Elite Hockey League. So, these are things that you can basically take something that is more commoditized, like a skate, and the companies are trying to advertise their logos and use it as your own way of, coming up with your own identity and showcasing what you really love about the sport or the team, or really anything that you really enjoy. So thank you for doing this. It's adding a lot of flair to hockey rinks everywhere, and it's great. One of the things you mentioned was, working through these challenges around COVID. How did you ultimately, was it more than just, trying to find these different ways of testing the skates and whether or not they'd be sufficient in the cold? Or did you actually have more challenges because you weren't able to access a rink?
Yeah, it's a great point. I think both. I think at the time, with no rinks being available, I was kind of going out on a limb and just trying to come up with a product, one, that didn't exist before, but two, trying to create something that I was comfortable with and confident in that it was going to withstand the test of time, with hockey being such a, I would say pretty obviously, physical sport, something where skates are going to get cut and nicked and it's wet on the ice. So how are they going to hold up over time? So that was the biggest challenge, I think, was just trying to come up with a product with adhesives that really would just hold up well. And I remember it was funny. I was ordering some materials off Amazon, and maybe 5 or 6 of them. And I was like testing them at the time. And I found one that I really liked that held up really well. And I was like, okay, this is a cool adhesive. This is like something I could put on that would be permanent, but I also could take it off and it could be removable. And I started looking into the manufacturer a little bit, and it shipped from Buffalo. So I was like, oh, well, this is interesting. Maybe this is meant to be. So I called the company and got hooked up with a rep there, and they're the same company that we use to this day. So a lot of stuff like that I feel like is kind of fallen into place for us a little bit, which has been pretty cool, and just kind of happens naturally like that. And to your point too, I think another piece of it that was challenging, that is still challenging today, is that with the product being so new, with it being something that nobody's ever really been familiar with before, I think we overcome a lot of challenges when it comes to hockey being such a traditional sport and people not being as adaptive to change. With it being, as it being something where, hockey is,
I know. I still have shoulder pads from when I played in high school because they're comfortable, and there's, if they work, why change them? So I get it.
Yeah, exactly. And when a product like that, when it comes to creativity and self-expression and things like that, I think a lot of times maybe people can kind of look down upon people that are wearing the product. But I think what helps us is that with the game moving in the direction that's going, with the way it's getting younger, with the way that the NHL is starting to do stuff with non-mandating the dress codes, with allowing more creativity and customization, one-off personalization, I think it really sets us up in a nice little intersection to lean on those things. So, those are two things I think have been the biggest challenge so far that, we're overcoming every day. But it's definitely been getting easier as we are a little bit more solidified in the space and working with some bigger companies and stuff.
Yeah. And listen, I know that, there were a couple of things that were important to you when you were designing this. I know you wanted to make the skins easy to use, because if you're going to ship this out to people who, maybe never seen this before, it's got to be easy enough for them to install, put on themselves. You wanted to make sure that there was no heating required, so that, made, additionally no other, issues with it. And you wanted them to do it with no additional tools, right? You wanted it as easy as possible. Why was this so important to you when designing it, to make sure that they were easy to use, no heat, no additional tools?
I think it just goes back to like our original mission of what the product wanted to accomplish from its inception. And what that was is giving players of all ages the ability to customize their skates. And I think about back when I was 6, 7, 8 years old, and how cool I probably thought this product would have been if I was that age growing up at the time. And
I agree.
Thank you. Yeah. And it's something where I think, if I was that age, I would want it to be as easy as possible. Just pull them out of the box and slap them on. So I think for me, just wanted to make it easy as easy as possible for the kid within myself that would think this is really cool, and needing no extra hardware. There's nothing worse than waking up on Christmas and wanting to put a toy together, and you realize that you need 4 AAA batteries or double D, like whatever it was. So I just want to make it as easy as possible for the end consumer, and also for the kid that wanted to customize the skates in the same way that I did.
Yeah, and you've done that, because I'm far from handy in any way, shape, or form, and it's not an issue putting them on or taking them off if needed. So you definitely made it easy. I could be your test case if you want to test anything going forward, because if it requires a hammer or a screwdriver, typically I'm calling my handyman to take care of it, because usually it'll take me longer to figure it out than just have him come over and take care of it. So you've definitely accomplished that. Imagine a relationship where financial conversations don't feel stressful, but actually bring you joy. We've designed a guide to help you have positive, meaningful money conversations with your partner. This isn't just another budgeting tool. It's a roadmap for building trust and connection. So if you're ready to start a joyful money journey with your partner, go to Mytland.us/couplesjoy and download your free guide. Transform your financial future together starting today. One thing I see, I think this is the where my son kind of discovered you was on social media.
Mm-hmm.
What role has social media content played into your brand for you?
Yeah, it's been huge. And I think that's a huge testament to our team. We have a team of about 6 or 7 guys here in Buffalo that really work all together handling our content. And that's a great point you make too, because all of our content up to this point has really been organic. We don't really do much with advertising other than just like organic social media growth, which I think has been huge for us. And, being able to grow the Instagram and the Facebook and everything up to this point, just through basic install videos, I think has been pretty cool. Like we'll run ice every couple of weeks and get out there and kind of create and pull some different designs of customers that have created them that week. And kind of just spin around, show people how to install them and kind of bust around with them on the ice. And it's usually pretty cool because we have, different color socks and different color pants, models that come out and, wear different stuff and just kind of like complete the entire look of the uniform. So, I think that's a testament to our team being able to create the content and kind of just keep it fresh and organic and keep it fun too. Throw some different music on there and, like every Friday we'll go live on Instagram and show people us like shipping out the orders and stuff. So different touch points I think that we have with the community are pretty cool and, helping grow the audience that way.
Yeah, it seems like this product, SkateSkins, it just lends itself to like virality on social media just because, who doesn't want to show off their SkateSkins, just organically, not even with any prompting from you. I'm sure people are just, putting them out there, tagging you and just organically growing that exposure for you, which is great.
Yeah, and that's been really cool. Is like that's where we see a lot of team orders too. Is like one person will order them for their team, and then we'll see another person be like, "Oh, where'd you get those?" And it'll lead to like the same team. And usually by the end of it, we're doing a team order.
Yeah.
Which is pretty
Listen,
cool
you mentioned
too.
earlier, even at the NHL level, more and more players are embracing and expressing their individuality, and they're being allowed to do that. As a result of that, how have you seen your customer base grow? I'm sure that's played in very nicely to that.
Yeah, it's been cool. It's been great, I'd say. And yeah, you look at other leagues too. Like you look at the NBA and you look at the NFL and what the NFL has done with My Cause, My Cleats, I think has been substantial for the league and for players to partner with different foundations. And I think the NHL is getting there. I think they're at a really strong point right now. I think the NHL is I think personally it's the most fun game to watch, especially in crunch time and playoffs and everything. It's just the greatest game. And I think there's a balance between that. I think, having people be able to one-off customize, but also going back to the uniformity of the team and the camaraderie of the team itself, I think is a balance that we always are conscious of and try to toe the line between. But yeah, at the same time too, I think there is absolutely room for customization and personality, whether the NHL were to do it during one night of warm-ups and, auction them off for fans or foundation. I think there's absolutely room there. And we've been fortunate enough to partner with the NHL's Hockey Fights Cancer for the past 2 years. This has been huge for us and a pretty cool design too, where we designed a skate skin where I'm sure you've seen like players hold up the placards of who they're playing for and stuff. And yeah, we've done the same type of thing with the skins where we have like a code on or a blank space on the back where players are able to write in there with a Sharpie of who they're honoring or playing for. And we've been able to raise a bit of money for the foundation itself too, which has been cool. And, being able to work with the NHL directly in that light has been awesome. And, that's led us into some different conversations with different NHL clubs that we're having right now. Just, like you said, exploring different warm-up nights and, promotional and campaign nights that we're going to be leaning into too. So I think there's so much opportunity for the product, whether it's home and away kits, whether it's, leaning into those foundations, one-off customization. We've even had some teams reach out to us that are introducing like advertising space on the skates where, they'll have sponsorships on there and whatnot. So yeah, I like to say it's a blank canvas for your skates and whatever your imagination can come up with is what you can create.
Yeah, so let's dive into that partnership that you had with the NHL for the 24-25 season, where you were part of their Hockey Fights Cancer initiative. How did that collaboration come to be, and where you were able to be such a part of Hockey Fights Cancer and SkateSkins benefiting the cancer research and patient services? How did that all come about?
It started originally working alongside the NHL and us going through like 10 or 12 different campaigns that they had. And, originally they had asked me to put together a few designs based on some different nights that they had coming up. And the one that we kept just drawing back to was Hockey Fights Cancer, just based on, I think everybody has a cancer story in some way, unfortunately, and has been touched in some light. So I think that was the one piece that we were able to collectively draw the most, just the most like recognition to, and want to show in the most positive light. So, with Hockey Fights Cancer being the direct partnership of the NHL, it was at the time where the NHL was switching over to ESPN and the V Foundation, where they were all intertwined and connected. And I think that really just made the most sense for us to just kind of come together collectively to work with them. We have a cool project coming out this year with Oshai Children's Hospital here in Buffalo, and working alongside Niagara University. They're going to be playing the National Development Program team sometime in late October, and we're working with the Children's Hospital. We basically just gave them like a printout of the skins template, and the kids are drawing and coloring on the skins itself, and then we're going to scan them in and print them. So it's just, I think it just goes back to show like how really functional and versatile the product can be, and giving kids like that the full ability to customize is what it's all about.
What a great thing, having those kids kind of put their touch on those skate skins.
Yeah.
I got goosebumps when you were telling that story. So I'll keep that in mind. I could see, I take part in a number of charity hockey games, and I could see like the pros or the former pros, right, wearing these and then afterwards signing them, and then the foundation or the charity auctioning them off, right? Mm-hmm. Why couldn't they do that and have a signed skate skin by your favorite pro hockey player? Mm-hmm. So great use for that. So, we've talked a lot about the design, so people can understand, so our listeners can understand, how does that design process works? Because I'm hearing, the client or the skater can design the skin, or it sounds like you guys can help. Is it either or how does that process look to me if I want to approach it as either an individual or a team?
I'm glad you bring that up, because there's two ways to do it. So on our website right now, we have a custom team product where users can go on and they can upload their logo and have us design the skin for them. So they'll upload the logo, and we usually send a design in about 1 to 3 days right to their email, and they can approve and send the order right to production. Or if they need changes, we have a design team that can help make those tweaks, because, like a lot of times players will get their logo, but it will have a white background or it'll be low resolution. And we have a design team that helps get around those issues. And then on the other hand, we have a customizer that we launched a couple of years ago, which is SkateSkinsCustomizer.com, which is pretty sweet. It's like Nike ID, where users are able to go on, upload their logo, and this is where it's full custom, where you can change the background color, play around with some templates, add text, change the number placement. You can like mirror the design. You can make it stealth if you want like a blackout look. And then if you hit preview, it shows you like exactly what it looks like on the skate. So it's a great point you bring up. There's two different ways to do it, because a lot of people are like, I know what I want, but I can't do it myself. So can you do it for us? And we can absolutely do that. And then you have people that are a bit more talented creatively and can actually do the design. And, we've also had people like send us the actual vector artwork logo that after we send them like the template. So you get a lot of different stuff. And I think that's what's been cool, is we've been able to kind of hit those different pain points for people and find a way to make it happen for them.
So whether you're an artistic, creative, or you're not, basically you can have a skate skin, because you don't have to be, but you can be if you want to.
Yeah, exactly.
Right? That's what it sounds like.
Yep.
Yeah. So it really serves the whole marketplace. And, let's talk about one other thing. Before SkateSkins, you founded, which you mentioned earlier, just Dishin. How has that venture, played into your success with SkateSkins? What did you take away from that venture that's helped you today?
Yeah, I would say everything. That was like the original venture I had like I said, when I first started out, first got going, and I've learned so much from that brand over time, just up until this point, and I'm still fortunate enough to be running that brand full time today. And I would say that's what takes up 60% of my time every week. And with SkateSkins being kind of more of an everyday order flow type thing, it's something where you can just kind of like put on cruise control a little bit and have that go, but also continuing to scale it too. But the Dishin brand is really what I love to do every day, and I think is like my artistic outlet for everything that we do around hockey. So, like we were touching on earlier, with hockey being a pretty traditional sport, pretty black and white, it's really allowed me to bring more creativity and personal style and fashion to the game. So a couple of years ago, we launched our logo, which is the logo on my hat. It's like our third eye, like seeing the game differently, and allows our perspective on hockey to really be seen, and has projected us into some pretty cool collaborations alongside the Blackhawks in 2023, and some different NHL clubs that we've worked with up to this point too. So we've got a big collection coming out with New Era this fall, which will be pretty sweet, with New Era being a Buffalo company right around the corner. And yeah, it's been pretty fun because the sky's the limit for that brand, and really what we're able to accomplish in the hockey space. And kind of mix that around with some different content that we create, and that's led to some pretty cool relationships with players across the NHL I've gotten to know pretty well, and whatnot there. So it's fun doing both. We wouldn't have SkateSkins without the Dishin brand, and vice versa. So each hand washes the other, and I'm fortunate to be able to run both of them today.
Good stuff. It's excellent. And, Matt, it's always a pleasure and enjoyable talking about hockey today included. It's always a fun day when I get to do that. But, we ask each of our guests, and our listeners are always waiting to hear these answers because we ask every guest this final question. And that is, what did you do today that brought you joy and put you in the right mindset for success?
It's a good question. Well, first thing I did this morning was took my daughter to her 2-year-old peds appointment. So I would say she's definitely my motivation for everything that I do, because with her being, I don't know, every day that she grows up, I'm able to like see something new in her, and it's just amazing having a child, because it's like me and my wife, we can just see both of us in her. And I would say her and my son are my motivation for everything that I do, because they are just like my joy. So I would say just being around her, and with me being at home, and being able to work from the shop, which our apartment is like an extension of the shop, has been really cool, and allows me to have that inspiration and fuel and creativity that I need to be my best every day. So it's I would say just being around them, and my wife too, and her being able to support what I do, because, as an entrepreneur, every day is a challenge, and, she helps me get through that, and alongside our team too, is, what really brings me the most joy. So I'm thankful that I get to do this every day, and wouldn't have it any other way besides that.
Yeah, enjoy every minute, because it goes super fast. And I tell people all the time, it gets exponentially faster as they get older somehow.
Yes.
I have no clue how I have a 22 and 19-year-old at this point, but I do. Mm-hmm. And just enjoy the journey. That's what I tell everybody. So thank you for sharing that. And listen, if people want to learn more about you, we're going to have all of your information in the show notes, all your contact information, websites, etc. But if people want to learn more about you, connect with you, learn more about SkateSkins, what's the easiest and the best way for them to do that?
Yeah, our Instagram is at SkateSkins Official. You can follow the Dishin brand at Just Dishin. And we're on pretty much every social media platform, from TikTok to Facebook to Twitter. And then my personal handles are at Matthew Keeler. So pretty easy to find us.
Great. Awesome. And listen, I will share with you listeners, as you heard me say before, this is a product that we've used in our family. My sons have loved it, really just added some individuality to their skates and on different occasions throughout their skating careers. And I appreciate what you're doing, Matt, and what the SkateSkins team is doing, and really enjoy watching you. So thank you for taking out the time. I really enjoyed the conversation, and enjoy the rest of your day.
Thank you. You too. And it's great to be on. Appreciate you having me.
Matthew, thank you for joining us on the Midland Money Mindset. Your journey from designing the Jordan 1 hockey skates to founding SkateSkins is a powerful reminder that innovation and passion can change not only a sport, but the lives of those who play it. The creativity and resilience you've shared today will inspire listeners to think bigger, embrace individuality, and find joy in building something meaningful. We're grateful you shared your story with us. Matt Keeler and SkateSkins can be found across most social media platforms. All the contact information needed to find them can be found in the show notes.
The opinions voiced in the Midland Money Mindset Show with Lawrence Sprung are for general information only and are not intended to provide specific advice or recommendations for any individual. Past performance is no guarantee of future results. All indices are unmanaged and may not be invested into directly. Investing involves risk, including possible loss of principal. No strategy ensures success or protects against loss. To determine what may be appropriate for you, consult with your attorney, accountant, financial or tax advisor prior to investing. Investment advisory services offered through CWM LLC, an SEC registered investment advisor. Guests on the Midland Money Mindset Show are not affiliated with CWM LLC.